Look through the window. What can you see? This is a sneak preview of the miniature gallery I'll be creating today. You're going to need to plan your gallery to begin, so pencil and a pen and some paper, then some art books for inspiration as to what might go into your gallery. Here's a selection of some of my favourites. You'll need different size paper and card, and I've got some recycled cardboard here I'll be using for my seating. For colour, you can use colouring pens, watercolours, pastels, crayons. You'll need paintbrush, glue, ruler, scissors, and empty cardboard boxes. I've got two different sizes shown here, and it's a smaller one I'll be working with, but that's not to say you can't use whatever size of box you've got handy at home. It's good to have spare pieces of cardboard like I've got here, which I would use for a partition wall on which I can hang more art. Let's have a look at how I am going to begin. I'll start by decorating the outside of my gallery, or it could be a museum, it's totally up to you. I've got some nice tissue paper that's got buildings printed on, so I'm going to recycle that, glue it size on the outside of my cardboard box. You could use anything for decoration. The wackier the better, I say. And next you've got to plan. Is it a gallery? Is it a museum, as I said before? What's going to be featured inside? Do you have favourite artists or artworks that you'd like to create in miniature? Would you like to have a special themed exhibition? And what type of gallery museum is it going to be? Is it going to be a contemporary art gallery, a modern art gallery? Is it going to be like the National Portrait Gallery, filled with portraits from artists from around the world across history? Or like the Science Museum? Could be a toy museum. Could be a natural history museum of dinosaurs. Here's some toys that you could use for inspiration. I'm sure you've got some at home. And if you need inspiration for still life miniatures, you can use plants, ornaments, photographs of family members, postcards as inspiration, up to you. I'm going to begin by drawing a little creature you're probably all very familiar with, character created by author and illustrator Beatrix Potter. Now, Beatrix Potter is one of my favourite artists. She was born in London, you know, in 1866. She was inspired by nature and loved drawing her classroom pets as a child and things she saw during her trips to the Lake District. I'm going to do a twist on little Peter Rabbit here, slightly changing the colouring, and I'm limiting my colour palette to red and blue and then some greens to really make the background pop. You see how small this miniature is? It's no longer than the length of my thumb. Once it's complete, I'm going to cut it out, and then I'll start designing a special frame for it. Very important, curators and artists, that we frame and hang our works appropriately. You can really go to town with your frame design. I've left about a centimetre width for the frame, and I'm going to create quite an elaborate decoration of patterns, a bit like the Zen triangle that you can find in our Art Hub lessons. I'm going to go over those with a black handwriting pen so they really stand out, gives a sharp definition. Once your frame design is complete, you can glue your little artwork neatly in place and press gently to secure. There we go. No longer than the length of my thumb, as I said. The theme for my gallery is women artists through history. That's something that I'm really interested in. The second artist that I'm taking inspiration from, whose work I'm attempting to recreate in miniature, is Louise Bourgeois. You can find her lesson on spiders in our Art Hub lessons. Now you notice when I was drawing with a pencil, I was holding it right up at the very top. That's the technique that you can use, which is called drawing with your shoulder. It gives you a very different way of line making, much more sketchy and wobbly, but it works really well for the spider here. Her metal spiders were huge sculptures, which some were 9 meters tall. And these large, fierce but fragile looking spiders represented Louise's mother, who was, as she said, a very creative and hard-working weaver. And there it is in place, my spider. The third female artist I'm looking at is the American painter Elma Thomas. Now, she was the first black woman to have a solo show at the Whitney Museum in New York. She actually started her career at the age of 69 as an abstract painter, and this work is called Resurrection, which now hangs in the White House. That's my 3 paintings. On to my next artist, Georgia O'Keefe, who was a painter and a sculptor, American, lived to the age of 98. She's the feature of one of our Artists in Focus films over on the website. She's best known for her really close-up magnified paintings of flowers, and this sculpture echoes her love of organic forms. Next, you've got to decorate your gallery. Make sure it's got all it needs. Its sign, its about, the floor decor, windows. I've cut this out using a craft knife, so you might need help from an adult at home with that. I've got a little seating area, and I'm going to start painting my floor, so the masking tape blocks up areas I don't want the colour pigment to be. I'll leave that to dry, then I'll remove the masking tape. Meanwhile, I'm taking some of my abstract patterns from the start of the week, and I'm cutting these up quite randomly, seeing what interesting images I can get, like this one, which to me looks a bit like a portrait of a lady. I'll make a little cardboard frame for that, and I'll attach that with masking tape. Gently placing it on the back and pressing it down. Okay, I've removed my masking tape. The watercolour's bled a little bit. I'm not too worried about that. I placed my sculpture, my O'Keefe sculpture, up in the roof garden. An extra layer to my gallery. You see, if you roll the masking tape like this on itself, with the sticky side out, it's an easy way of attaching your paintings. But first you've got to decide on placement. That's where your role as a curator comes in. A gallery or museum curator decides what's going to be hung, where and how, and the story arc of the exhibition. I think the spider looks really well in the back. It's quite bold next to Elma Thomas's Resurrection. I've got Peter Rabbit down at closer to eye level. I think children would like that when they visit the gallery. It's easier for them to see. My abstract art underneath the window there. Landscape. Do pause to look inside your gallery, decide what's going to go where, what should be hung next to each other, and you can even introduce some of your little toy figures. If you've got Lego or Playmobil or some of your cuddly toys, what do they think of your exhibition? What's their favourite artworks? You might want to include an about and titles explaining the artworks, like this one, Peter Rabbit, seen through the window. Good luck and have fun, everybody! I cannot wait to see the galleries you create in miniature.